Hi, welcome back, and this is now issue 78 of Build Your Own Star Wars R2D2. Okay, so sorry about the delay. It should have obviously been uploaded by now, but I've had a really bad month for my part works, so I will explain on each video, but I've only just received these. These are all good. I'm ready to go. I can't say that, I'm afraid, for the Route Master build, and sorry about last week's build the DeLorean. That was another problem in itself as well, but we're concentrating on R2 at the moment, so let's crack on and get this built. So here we go. I'm going to check off the parts. Now before I start, we're going to need some cutters, because we've got a sprue in there, and we're also going to need some super glue, because we're going to be gluing in this issue for the arms. So I'll just open the bag up and then we'll check the parts off. Okay, so in this little bag here we've got the left tool compartment door, which looks like that. Okay, we've got the left tool compartment, which is this part here, and then we've got this little pack here full of little plastic items to make up the tools. So I'll carefully get this open. And it looks like there's a lot of fragile parts in here. So we've got two cover connectors. We've seen them before, and they are different. One's a thin one and one's more of a wider one, as you can see there. We've got two more cover connectors, and these look the same, and they're like an L shape. Okay, we've got two hinges, which are these silver parts here. And I'm just going to change my focus for you. Okay, Doug, we've also got the gripper fingers, which are on this sprue here. We've got the tool arm, which is this gold piece here. We've just got the tool arm. A tool probe, which looks like it's on some sort of sprue there. The tool hand. As I say, these are all plastic. We've got the gripper hand, which is this silver part here with the 3 holes in the top. and then we've got two tall pivots. One is longer than the other. And then we've got two tool arm tubes, and they are the same. And that is all the parts. So let's get cracking. So the first thing it wants us to do, I'm just going to put all these bits back. Is we need to take these the 3 fingers, and then we need to cut them off the sprue. So that's one, and then I'll get the other 2 off. Two. There we go, and 3, and that is all that's on there, so that can be discarded. Okay, then what it wants us to do is super glue these into this part in the 3 holes, and they go in like that, so the longer part sort of curves inwards. Now obviously it's asking us to glue these in. That was actually a really tight fit, but I'm going to put a dab of glue on each of the ends here. Just to secure those in. So that's one. Now it's best just to make sure it does fit in before you apply the glue, just in case. There's a problem with the fit. There we are, there's 2 in, and then last of all, oh, before I put the glue in, let me just do a test fit. Yeah, that's fine. And there we have that completed part. It's pretty cool, like a little claw. Okay, the next thing it wants us to do is take this gold part here, and there's like a D shape in there. And then again, I'm going to do a little test fit. You can tell which way it goes in. That goes in fine. So I'm just going to apply some glue into the hole. Not too much. Like I've just done. Just a tad too much. I'm just going to wipe that excess off. And then there we have this part. Okay, next it wants us to fit the forked end of one of the BP28 tools over the longer pivot tube. So let me just see what this is. Right, okay. So we're going to take the longer piece. As if you remember, we had the short piece and then the longer piece. We're going to put the longer piece in the slit. like so. And then we're going to fix that together. Just get these screws out. We're going to use these 8mm screws, and they've got the thread at the end. Okay, we want one of those, and we also want a nut. Now, there's a recess in one side of this arm, the shape of a nut, so that can be pushed in there, and then from the other side we'll attach that screw. And it doesn't say how tight, but I don't think it matters too much. I mean, if you over tighten it, it will just crimp this plastic together, but that's got a nice feel to it, so I'm happy with that. Okay, and then we've got something that looks like that. The next thing we're going to do, again, we're going to take the tool we've just built. Again, there's a D shape in the end of this part we've just built, the pivot arm. Test fit, that goes in perfectly. It is a loose fit. And again, we're going to put a bit of glue in the end. And then we have that arm completed. Lovely. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is work on the other arm. So the first thing it wants us to do, separate the probe from its sprue. So yeah, this very small gold piece here, we're just going to cut that off from the sprue. And it will leave a very small pin on the bottom, so don't cut that flush. You can tell by the sprue where it needs to be cut. Okay, then what we're going to do is glue the pin into the hole here. I'll just do a test fit. And it will look like that when it's glued. So I'm just going to put a dab of glue just in the hole. And then we should have something that looks like that. The next step is to grab the pin and then we're going to affix it into here onto the end of this part, and again there's a D shape there, and it will only fit one way because that end is far too wide. You want the thinner end. Again, we're going to put a little bit of glue just in that hole, and then we're going to secure that. Like so. And then we're going to get another nut, small nut, and another one of those screws, and then we're going to assemble the other arm, but we're going to use obviously the remaining shorter pivot. Again, same thing, that'll go in that little hole in the slit. The nut will go on one side, and then we'll turn that over, and then we'll put that screw through to meet the nut. Yep, I'm happy with that. And then finally we're going to secure this second arm in the same way into the arm. So with some glue, I'm going to glue this side this time. We should have something that looks like that. So we've got the two tool arms done. And that all seems to have taken nice. Okay, so that part being done, we're now going to fit the tools to the compartment. So let me just get the orientation correct. Okay, so we're working on this one first, and that is going to fit in if you're looking at it this direction, you've got the two tabs there, and then you've got one there that is slightly lower down, and the second tool is going to go in that hole there in that direction. Okay, and then what we want to do is secure that into place with a 2.3 by 6mm self-tapping screw. So I'm just going to find one of those, which is the black screws we've got, and then we're just going to secure that in from the other side. There we have it. Let me just move you up a bit. And then we have a nice movement there. and then that snaps back into place. Okie doke. The next thing it wants us to do is secure the other arm. Now I've seen on the Facebook groups there's actually an error, and what it wants us to do is actually secure the arm in that way with the claw at the bottom, but that is incorrect. What you need to do is just twist that round so that the claw is at the top, okay, and then that is the correct way round. And again, we're going to secure that in with one of those 2.36mm screws through the hole there behind it. And there we have the tools that fold away nicely in there. It's got a nice action to them. They sort of clunk. Okay, so with that all folded away in there, this one is a little bit loose. This arm's really loose, and I think I know why. I'm just going to change this quickly before we move on. I think I have a misshaped nut. Because it doesn't seem quite big enough. So let me just change the nut. So yeah, I'm just like for like, same nut, but I'm just trying a different nut in that hole just to see if that makes that any better. So I'm going to pop that back in. And secure that screw back through. Yeah, that's much better. It's not so wobbly now. See? Lovely. Right, so with that done, I'm going to get rid of that nut. We're now going to attach the compartment door, which is this part here. Okay. So we want to grab the two silver hinges, and then we want to screw a 2.3 by 6mm black screw through. Let me just get this orientation correct. So it's going to go on the outside of the hinge where the hole is. There's one there and obviously one on this end, and then we're just going to put this 6mm screw through the hinge and then into the white part. So then it looks like that. And we're going to do the same on the other side. And then into that hole. On there. Like so. And they are facing them down. There we go, and then we should have something that looks like that. Once that's done, we're going to fit the silver hinges on the back here. You've got these squares. You've got one on the outer edge there, and that one on the outer edge just there. We're going to pop the hinges into those squares, and then again using those 2x3x6mm screws, we'll secure that. Oh, I completely forgot to mention as well, those of you that have watched my previous videos, I don't think I would have had enough of these screws. Now, because I started using them for these connectors, it was very unclear, but I've changed all of these screws out and put the flanged screws in, as you can just see probably on that one there. Okay, and I've changed them all because I had loads of those screws, and then in a later issue it does say use a flange screw, so I assumed all of them were going to be like that. So I've done that, and I'm sort of glad I did now, because obviously most of this assembly here has been using these screws, and I wouldn't have had enough because I used a lot of them for that body panel. So I'm just going to start those two off. So yeah, the hinge, and then screw them in from the other side. So that's one side. And two. Okay, and that is that assembly. It's a little bit crunchy, but that is because of these plastic tabs just on the back here, which acts as like it sort of keeps the door closed or open, if you see what I mean. And I think a lot of you probably have this. I mean, my panel is not straight. You can see it bows in the middle, and I'm not really sure if there's any way around that. Let me just loosen those off a tad. See if that not really helped. But yeah, that is that part complete now. It's not as bad. I've loosened it off slightly, but it is still warped. But I think a lot of you have had this problem, so okie doke. that's that part complete. Now what we want now, we want to install this tool compartment into this part here, which we worked on in the last issue. So it wants us to open the door and then slot the door through. Like that, and then there's like a clip there. I'm going to click that down into place. That should sit nicely in there, and then all these screw holes will line up. You've got 1, 2, 3, and there's actually one there as well, 4. And then yeah, all 4 of those, we'll be using these 6mm screws again. So there's one just up in this top corner here. And then we've got 3 more along the bottom. 1, 2, and 3. That's 1. Bear in mind not to over tighten because we're going into plastic, so you don't want to snap or strip any threads. And there we have our tool compartment, and then obviously there's the tools that come out. This camera angle's awful, isn't it? Sorry. So yeah, just bear in mind this part is reversed to what the magazine actually says. Okay, so I'm going to put the tools away. It's not too bad fit actually. I mean it is slightly warped. As you can see, but it's not too bad. It's a little bit raised in this corner more than the other, but overall I'm happy with that. It doesn't look too bad. Okay, the next thing we want to do is secure. We need to collect the 4 cover connectors. You've got the 2 L-shaped ones, you've got the thin one, and then you've got the wider one there. So the first one we want is the thinner one. And that is going to fit just up here in this hole, and there's an arrow on the plastic like before, and then again there's an arrow on this thin cover connector. So we're going to pop that on, and I'll see there's an actual cutout under there You can just about see that. That will go over the silver tab on the side of this door, and I assume that's going to keep that down. Okay. And then it says fixed with a flanged 2.3 by 6mm screw. So again, like all the other ones I've changed, it's the ones, these screws here, they look like they've got like washers on the ends, the flanged ones. So I'm just going to secure that into place. There we go. Next, it wants us to use an L shape, and that is going to go one here and one on here, on those pegs sticking up, and obviously it's going to fit on like that. So you've got the L with the back towards this edge here. Okay, and then again the picture shows these flange screws, so I'm going to use one of those. There we go, that's one in, and then the other one will go on this pin on the end. And then they should look like that. And then you've guessed it, the last one is actually going to go on this peg at the end, except the arrow needs to be on the out, or facing outwards this time. So just grab that and then put another flange screw through. And then we should have something that looks like that. And all my parts are gone, and that does complete issue 78. So yeah, that was it for issue 78. I hope you enjoyed that issue. If you like the video, please like, share, subscribe, that would be great. Give us a thumbs up, thank you so much. And optional, if you want to, there's a link in the description where you could buy me a coffee. But no, until next week, take care, God bless, and see you next week.